Hello, Steffi. How are you doing today?
Hi, very well, thank you. And you?
Awesome, thank you. May I record this session potentially for sharing in open sources like YouTube, for example.
Yeah, sure. Hmm.
Thank you very much for this desire to share coaching process with people around the world and feel comfortable. If you don't like something about this session, at the end of the session, I will ask again, and then we do not keep the recording.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So, which topic are you bringing today?
I think I want to talk about my Norwegian language and my maybe attitude to my Norwegian language. And I mean by that, the following, when I just started learning Norwegian, I was very like romanticizing it. And that was my main source of motivation and inspiration for learning Norwegian. And then all of the things that I used it for, all of the sources that I found to use it in, and like everything that I did with this language was based on inspiration and yeah, on that initial motivation that I had. But then I lived some time in Norway, and of course, I saw that the things are not like that romantic, and the country is different, people are different than I thought, and the language also got like another aura for me. Yeah, and from then it started to get like difficult to get that attitude again, like motivated attitude to have a good level of Norwegian, to work with Norwegian. So like I would call it maybe problems with motivation or disappointment or something like that.
Mhm.
That's it. Hmm.
Currently, what is your level in Norwegian about?
About C1, so I'm pretty fluent. Yeah, but now it costs me much more effort to keep that fluent level because I don't really use Norwegian directly anywhere now. Right now I live in St. Petersburg, and yeah, just I teach Norwegian, but I don't really talk much to Norwegians or work with anyone Norwegian. So it's getting difficult, and without the needed motivation that I had before, it's getting even more difficult. Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's it. Mm.
So, ideally, what would you wish for yourself in terms of Norwegian if there are no restrictions for you?
Oh, it's a good question. um, Ideally, I would wish myself to have that old romantic view on the language and feel that when I'm doing something in that language or learning it or teaching it, feel that inspiration. Like yeah, like I'm a big lover of Scandinavian culture and languages and like Scandinavia at all. But somehow, and exactly with Norwegian language, that may be a disappointment or realization that not everything is so romantic or something like that. It just um, had the biggest impact on my Norwegian, exactly on that one. Yes, that's it.
Let me check one thing. What I heard from what you have just shared, actually, it's not the level of language that you wish for yourself to improve. At least it's not on the top priority. The top priority is having this romantic attitude back. Let me check it with you.
Yeah, I would say so. Not I don't really need like absolutely romantic attitude, but I really want to have a, like positive and not positive attitudes where I'm not questioning why am I doing this? Why am I learning this language? Why am I working with that language? And maybe, yeah, just don't do not. I want to not have negative like links in my brain to that language. I would say so.
And then when this ideal scenario happens, if you connect with that point, who you are there.
Uh, oh, okay. I feel free there, I would say, in terms of being free of your experience, like not letting my experience have an impact on the language and on my desire to learn languages and teach languages and be a linguist. And I think, yeah, it's some sort of freedom, and I see myself as a free person who can learn a language or do whatever with language, no matter the experience, the political situation, the environment, and etc.
How can you call yourself as a personality there at that point?
As a personality, okay. Mm-hmm. Like, should it be a noun or or an adjective? How could I show myself as a person?
Well, in my mind, it's about a noun, but let's see
Mm-hmm.
how you find it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't really find a proper noun. Yeah, but yeah, okay, I can say, as I said, yeah, freedom or free is definitely a word that comes to my brain. But maybe, yeah, I don't know. I see myself as a happy woman who can work with what she loves. Yeah, no matter, yeah, how I said, experience in the environment. But maybe one noun is very hard to me to find.
Or it doesn't need to be one noun. I heard happy woman who's experiencing freedom and can do what she likes. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, that's correct. And I also would say that maybe I actually want to also like be that happy woman who sees the world in her own way. So I would say that. So like, it's also connected with not letting experience, yeah, influence the picture of the language that you have. So maybe also this. So a happy woman who looks at the world her own way and is happy with that. So I would say.
Mhm.
Mhm.
What kind of emotion do you feel right now when you share that?
Uh, Relief, and I feel happy. Like, I am looking forward to being that person. I would say.
Mm. So today, when we are going to summarize the results of the exploration in coaching mode, let's say in 15 minutes, what would be a good result of the session for you?
A good result would be me seeing how to get to the point that I previously mentioned. So, yeah, maybe to know which instruments I can use or some approaches that I can try to move that way.
So to move that way to which destination point?
To the destination point where I can keep my Norwegian level fluent without any extra effort, and where I work with that language with inspiration and happiness.
Hmm. Fluent without extra effort.
Mm.
Mhm. Me saying how I get to the point where I keep my Norwegian level without extra uh, work, or could you repeat that again? Without
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
effort.
without extra effort,
Mm.
or without, yeah, I would say, yeah, without extra effort, and where I work with this language and I am happy with that. So
Mhm.
where, yeah, where
Mhm.
I only experience positive emotions from working with that language.
Mhm. So how will you understand that you got this result? You saying how you get to this point.
I will feel that I no longer need to push myself to, for example, read something in Norwegian, or watch some TV show, or yeah, do some extra exercise to keep my level good. I will not need to push myself. It will happen because of interest. Yeah, this would be a marker.
Mhm. Is there one more marker? If so, could you share?
Yeah, I think um, I would not have like negative or like some maybe even say like intrusive thoughts about people when I communicate with, for example, Norwegians or people who talk Norwegian to me. I will not feel like not being comfortable or so. So like the goal is to feel comfortable speaking Norwegian with people and not having bad associations.
Mhm. As far as I understand, this marker you can more check with yourself after the session when speaking to Norwegian people. And by the end of the session, you can check this feeling that you don't need to push yourself.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's correct. Mm-hmm.
So what makes it important, this request for today's session, you saying how you get to this point where you keep your Norwegian without extra effort, you feel you don't need to push yourself.
How important it is, yeah, from
What makes it important? What is the bigger meaning of that?
It's important for me because I have family connections with the Nordic people and the Nordic cultures. And for me, it's also a part of my identity, being close to everything Northern and Scandinavian or Finnish, for example. And it's like part of my life and has always been. And I don't want to have any inner conflicts related to that. And I don't want to see that conflict depicting in a language. Yeah, so unfolding in a language, better say. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And what is important to explore today so that you get your result? You saying how you get to keep this Norwegian fluent.
I think I want to understand with which practical steps or which like realistic steps I can start making right now to reach that result in the future. So maybe I just don't really realize right now what I can make, what I can do to make this possible. So the best result would be me understanding what I need to do to make this possible.
Mm. So you are talking about the steps now as the aspect important to explore. Before that, you were also talking about inner conflicts. May I ask you how those inner conflicts are connected to the fact that you exploring the steps now?
Yeah, thank you. It's an interesting question. Maybe because I think that while doing some steps to the direction where I feel inspired and happy with the language, I can also get rid of the conflicts and like understand why I understand why I have this conflict. So like I understand why I feel that way and what led to that and why is it happening, but I don't really understand how to get out of that. Like for now, I know that the answer is within, but for now I don't really realize. And I think the steps, they thinking about the steps and making like a small plan could make me come to the point where I slowly get rid of the conflict because I just move away from that. I think it looks like this for me.
All right, I hear that for you the approach is better first to find the proper steps, and then they might help you to manage those conflicts.
Yeah, this usually works for me quite
All
well.
right. So for those steps, what characteristics do the steps need to have?
I think it should be some at first place. It should be some inner work, of course, where I, for example, find something that I enjoy about the language, and I find also what I don't like and what like the negative maybe memories or negative thoughts that are connected to the language, and to make the things that I enjoy and to make the things that I that inspire me overweight the negative things. I think this would be a good one.
Mm. And also before that, you were sharing that without extra effort. Could you also explore what without extra effort includes?
Oh yeah, of course. For me, without extra effort is not putting, for example, watch a Norwegian TV show or listen to a Norwegian podcast to my to-do list. So where it's like I don't want it to be a compulsory task, which I just have to do, yeah, in order to improve my Norwegian, for example. I want it to be from the point of interest where I, for example, I just walk through the street and I'm like, I want to listen to a podcast, and I just find a podcast in Norwegian to the topic that interests me, and I listen to it without having it as a compulsory task. So doing things that are connected with Norwegian, not from the point of a like obligatory tasks, yeah, but more from pleasure. So more of like with pleasure, I would say.
If regularity has some role here, because you said that you need to find something you enjoy about the language, you need to have it something not compulsory but coming from pleasure. May I check if the steps should be implying some certain regularity?
Yeah, I think so. They should. But as I've said, yeah, not like something compulsory. Yeah, I really want it to be from like a thing that I enjoy. So like to bring back the joy of working with Norwegian, the joy of learning new things in Norwegian. Yeah, this is maybe the most important in these steps. Yeah, they can be not really like super regular, but they better be bringing me joy than be very like regular. So like the priority is enjoy.
Can you give me an example, maybe with another language, because I know you speak many languages, or maybe with another activity when you're learning something of such type of step?
Yeah, I can absolutely. For example, with English, I regularly like watch some videos to topics that interest me, or listen to music, or I text to people like to my international friends in English, and I do it without like pushing myself. I do it without thinking about that. Like I need to do this. I don't know. I'm drinking coffee, and I switch on some video in English and watch, and I even don't think, why am I doing this, or what do I need this for, or yeah, like I don't see my calendar and I'm like, oh yeah, I should switch a video on in English. No, it doesn't work this way. I'm just doing it automatically because it brings me joy. It's interesting for me, and I just somehow don't even really think when I'm doing this. And before, it used to work like that with Norwegian, but it stopped. And yeah, somehow I want to bring it back.
If you feel like sharing, what stopped it? I would appreciate.
I would say I don't really find the most pieces of content in Norwegian that are accessible to me if I'm not in Norway. Yeah, because a lot of sources are blocked if you are not in Norway, like your IP address is not Norwegian. But from all the sources that I can use, I don't really find the most of them really interesting. And the things that, for example, they film TV shows about, or things that they write about in the articles and social media, don't really like, they are too, I would say, they're really uninteresting to me, too boring. And for me, it's like the most content that I find interesting is either in German or in English, or sometimes in Russian. There is some interesting content in Danish, but I cannot watch everything because I have like B1, B2 level and don't really understand everything. But with Norwegian, it's really a problem because the most of the content that I find is really boring. And the most of the people, unfortunately, that I've been like communicating with also are really like, not really boring, I wouldn't say that, but it's like just not the topics or the things that are being talked about or some things like that. They just don't, they're just like not about me. I cannot really talk a lot about this, or I just don't really enjoy talking about such things and stuff. So some sort of like informational isolation, I would say. Yeah. So you cannot find something that is interesting for you, and then you just subconsciously you connect it with culture. You're like, okay, this culture is very interesting for me in a romanticized way, in a like Old Norse or like Viking way, yeah. But the modern Norwegian culture somehow I cannot resemble. I cannot find myself there, and yeah, maybe that's why.
If there is something else which made this created this feeling of romantic attitude to Norwegian culture and language, could you mention that too?
What created the romantic attitude, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it was primarily just my traveling experience, because I really enjoyed and I enjoy sorry and I enjoy traveling to Scandinavian countries, and I really enjoy their nature and design and like the style, how people dress, like everything is like pure pleasure for me aesthetically. And I love really I like studying the history of Scandinavia. It's very interesting for me. The culture is also really interesting, but mostly I find the previous ages culture interesting. But the modern culture is like very Americanized, and I can't really find many things that are really like super authentic or interesting to explore in the modern culture.
Mm.
But the things that inspire me are more like the past,
Mm.
the past history, or the past heritage, or something like purely visual. So like nature, design, people, their looks, and yeah,
Mm.
that's it. And also the language sounds really beautiful. So like it inspires me too, the sound of the language and how it's like music for me. But
Mm.
since I haven't been in Norway for like some time, from now on, I just don't really hear a lot of pure and authentic Norwegian language. And it's also maybe a reason why I'm a little bit demotivated.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
If you had a fairy stick and you could meet Norwegians where you live in St. Petersburg, the types that are sharing your interests, this love to history of Norway, and all other things that you love about Norwegian language. So, what kind of people would potentially be the ones, the Norwegians, that you would love to talk to regularly?
Oh, I think these people are not really easy to find, because maybe
As if, as if.
in some sort of way, I think in the positive way, these people are probably nerds. Yeah, and it is probably like they're not really like big fans of going to parties or bars or something, or places where you usually can meet people, or I don't know, some meetings or events. But I think in a perfect world, I could meet these people at some, maybe at university, or maybe at some events which are connected to something like to knowledge, like maybe some conferences or some thematical like events that are like, I don't know, maybe just something that is connected to the Scandinavian culture or history, some events like this. So yeah, there I probably could find such people. But in like daily life, I think it's really hard thing to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
I believe in the power of intention. Once we create an intention to meet certain people sharing certain values, interests, uh, somehow it happens and we meet those people. How does this thought sounds to you?
This sounds really good. I really hope that it works this way because I didn't really use this in while I've been living in Norway. I was more like, I got disappointed at some point, and then I just started cultivating that. And I was like, oh no, yeah, I will not find a Norwegian that would be interesting to talk with. Oh no, they have different interests. Oh no, I'm such an outsider here. And yeah, it was like more negative like intention, I would say. And maybe that's why it happened this way, that I didn't find such people, and that I somehow didn't feel really comfortable with the like with the language afterwards. But maybe if you still hope and if you create an intention to meet such people, to find such places where you can match interests, then maybe it would work, because I know that these people exist and I know that these places exist, but somehow just like I didn't meet them and they didn't meet me. So somehow, yeah, just based on experience, the disappointment was enough to make me unmotivated. So that's it.
How would you like to ground this thought now, this finding for yourself?
I think this finding is based on the thought that it's like it's easy to say that the culture is like the modern culture is boring, or just Norwegians are, and just put a mark or I don't know something, yeah, on them. But maybe it is much smarter and better to think that I haven't just met the right people yet, or I'm just not in the right place yet, and I haven't reached the maybe I myself haven't reached the right state yet, like until that point, yeah, until this point where I'm sitting here, the right state or mental and physical state, maybe I don't know yet, which would lead me to such people, which would lead me to such situations where I find what I seek, yeah. So maybe it's just better to switch focus from just stating the fact that this culture is not for me, or I am like I'm a stranger there, or I'm like an I don't know, I feel like an outsider, yeah, and stop manifesting that, and start manifesting that the best is yet to come, and that I should do everything to attract these people and these situations in this environment into my life to feel inspired again.
No, the question that now stands for me, let us check if you like it. What bigger meaning can you bring to Norwegian people, culture?
Me as a person.
Yes.
I think I have an answer for that. I think that I can, as a representative of partly of Russian culture as well, because I'm like mixed. I'm mixed, but also like I live my biggest part of my life in Russia, and I have a big like how do I say Russian influence on me as well. Yeah, so like I know Russian culture and how it works here, how people are, and how it truly is. And maybe what I could give to people, to Norwegian people that I will meet, is to tell them how modern Russia is, how it works, and like broaden their horizons a bit, and show that yeah, maybe some things work the way that they think they work, but some things are certainly not that bad or something like that. And I really want to be like a bridge builder, so I would say, right? So like show people of different nationalities that the world is big, and different, all the cultures are really interesting, and the culture has nothing to do with the politics. And maybe for me, it would be a great opportunity to show that any culture is unique, and tell people and inspire them to maybe visit Russia, or to like read something, right? Or to be interested in Russian culture. That's so that I will be interested in Norwegian culture, and they can get to know something about Russia, and get deeper into understanding of the culture. Maybe it would be a great outcome for me. So like cultural exchange, so I would say.
What do you feel in your body now when you're exploring that?
I would say I feel that I'm more relaxed, but at the same time, I feel a bit of fear, like somewhere here, because I somehow feel like, but do they really need it? Like, do they really want to know about Russian culture? Do they really want about, like, maybe they will say like, huh? We don't really want to read. We don't want to know about it. Like, it's not so, but I think this fear comes from my previous experience, negative experience. and it is like not a reliable source of information.
How can you check the answer if they are interested?
I can only check it practically. I can just, for example, in my future plans, if everything will work out for me as I want it to work out, then I will have opportunities in the next like few years to travel to Scandinavia quite often and maybe visit some events, find some interesting people in the science or like history enthusiasts or something like that, yeah, in the science sphere. So maybe if I do it like practically, if I just go there and find people that I want to talk to that maybe would match interests with me, and then just in practice, if you talk about it, just the only way how you can get to know. I think just check, just not be afraid to check, and yeah, not be afraid to do that all over again. So like, not just say that no, this culture isn't good for me. This culture just like doesn't take me. I'm a stranger there. No, not to say that, but to accept that this was just some experience, and some very limited experience. So another experience can be quite different, and this is the only way I can check.
When you were talking about Russian culture, you said that the world is big and we have so many things. And that I would suggest to also have a look at Norwegian culture through the same prism. How do you find?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Yeah, and I don't really, I would not say that I find the culture like somehow, I don't see it in like a negative way. I would never say that it's a like some sort of inappropriate or bad or any like negative sort of culture. But I just somehow felt not in my place there. I just somehow felt that I expected to be like in my place, but I wasn't, and maybe this was the main problem. But instead of like locking yourself and basing your whole like I don't know, basing your whole perception of the culture and people just based on just on something that you experienced once, twice, or like I don't know, 3 times. Maybe it's better to just try and search, the other place or with the other people, or maybe accept the fact that even you yourself were a different person then, and maybe you just didn't attract the right people. So yeah, I think it's as much just like it is very good that you said about that the world is bigger from my words. Yeah, because this probably my own statement can help me to like understand that the Norwegian culture in Norway is also like big and bigger than my personal experience there. So if I have to work on this thought a bit, but this is really like a good insight that my experience with the certain culture or the certain country or the certain language isn't everything. Yeah, and I cannot base like my opinion just on my private experience. Maybe, yeah, this is
Thank you very much for highlighting this finding. And now, because we have a short demo session, may I invite you to check you saying how you get to the point of keeping fluent Norwegian without extra effort. To what extent have you moved already towards this task?
I think these realizations that I had in this session helped me to open myself up to any instruments that I can use. For example, if I've at first like I felt maybe like guilt or like some mixed emotions when I started enjoying some videos about Norway or something like that again, or interviews or anything. But now I think I don't really, when I think about it, I don't feel potential like guilt or potential like mixed feelings anymore, because somehow now I can allow myself to romanticize, really romanticize this, even knowing that it may be different.
Mm.
And I think this is a big step. Yeah.
Mm. And what your criteria was, I will feel I do not need to push myself. How do you find this metric now?
I feel that I moved the right way. I would not say that I 100% like don't need to push myself from now, but I feel much more optimistic on that and than before when I started the session. When we started this session, and yeah, I think that I will not need to push myself that much as I used to do before, and I think this is also a good.
Celebrating with you this progress. And what findings from today's session you want to take away with yourself?
I think I want to, yeah, at first the finding that the answer is always within. So I basically help myself with my own thoughts, my own quote, yeah, about the fact that the world is big. And you thank you very much that you highlighted that, because I obviously didn't just see it. Yeah, and how my own thought can be helpful for me in this particular situation. And I would say that I'm coming out of the session with the finding that I should always leave an open space in my heart for new experience and for changing my opinion on things, and no matter in my experience. So if it's not really like personal, if it's not like relationships or something, yeah, if it's about the language or my attitude to the culture, I should not make consequences if my experience with that is not really over. Yeah, and try something else. Try to look the other way. Try to like different place, different people, different city. Yeah, so maybe this is the answer.
And if you put down one or two steps you want to implement within a couple of days, probably to ground the neural connections, what would it be?
I think I would like to start planning a trip to Norway. Yeah, in the next year, calendar year, like yeah, to 2025, and I would like to start to look for some content that interests me in Norwegian, but without like hyper analyzing it, without thinking like, how true is this? Or, oh no, they show it this way, but in real life it's not this way. So like not hyper analyze, but more like just enjoy. Maybe this is the option. It's like romanticize, knowing that you're romanticizing, but allowing yourself to romanticize. Yeah, I think these two steps are really could be helpful for me.
What would be your support to do those steps?
My support would be, I think the first step is pretty supportive itself, because I love traveling, and if I'm planning a trip, it's a really like big supporting thing for me for any kind of like effort, for any kind of progress. But maybe something like, maybe I can talk with my Norwegian friends about this, because I have like a few, but I have Norwegian friends, and maybe I can tell them the story and my feelings about this and talk with them about it in Norwegian, and it would be probably very like therapeutic. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Steffi. What would
Thank
be the
you.
best way for you to finish the session today?
I think that I'm quite ready to finish, but I would like to finish with gratitude and to say thank you very much for helping me understand how to work this out. And I'm really amazed how in this small, quite like short session, right? I managed to go through all of these realizations, and you managed to help me so well. So thank you very much for this time and for your effort.
Thank you very much, Steffi. That was really a pleasure. Very important for me to be your coach today, bringing so much for me as a language coach as well. And
Thank you.
may I keep the recording? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's completely fine. Yeah, you can
Okay.
keep the recording.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you too.